Just footsack your mouth and listen. It's No Through Show, guys.
Righto, guys. You're here with Greg and Bruno on the No Through Show podcast, recorded in the P3 studios here in Moffat Avenue, Bulawayo, in the city of kings and queens. We have not seen a queen like Caitlyn Jenner, soon to be the vice president of the United States of America, with his president, Kanye, a.k.a. Yeezus, Kanye West.
Yeah, he's not like old,
No.
what's his name from Congo? Was it Congo?
Idi Amin.
Was it?
It was,
Yeah.
no, it was not Congo.
Sorry, it wasn't. No,
Uganda.
Congo wasn't. Yeah, sorry.
Uganda, if you guys wouldn't mind fact-checking Idi Amin's full title, it is about a paragraph long, and it's amazing. But,
is
I mean,
amazing.
you know, let's just talk about that just very briefly. If that is to happen, let me tell you something. Putin is going to eat that president for breakfast. And I'm
100%.
talking about actually grinding and making sausage out of the president
Some
and
young
vice president.
chorizo.
Which, by the way, the Caitlyn Jenner, who would be the vice president, already helped make one sausage disappear.
You know, there exists an opportunity for good out of all of this whole thing which happened. You know, not just BLM and the whole movement and prior, just all of police. You know, the stigma which is around police.
Yeah.
It's quite bad. You know, everyone's like, oh, pigs.
Yeah.
We can transfer that stigma to politicians. They're the pigs, really.
Let's just talk about that
I
for a
mean,
minute.
the cops are just, most of them, I'm not saying, you know, it was
Well, they're
a lot of
just trying
bad
to
apples
listen.
out there.
They're just trying to
But-
enforce. You listen. We understand, especially in the first world. I'm not sure about here in Africa. It's a little bit different with the police that do have the ultimate and complete power. In America, the people have more of the power. Let's be honest about it.
But do they really, though?
But with regard to the politicians, I think you're correct. It's often been said that politics is Hollywood for ugly people. It's the same amount of acting.
Yeah.
It's lying and being someone else. It's saying
now
what
more than ever,
what people want to hear.
Yeah. And now more than ever, it's about, like, publicity, social media exposure.
Correct.
You know, all
In
those
fact,
things. So more so than ever before, it might be the Hollywood for ugly people.
yeah.
But they're the real true pigs, I feel. Because, I mean, these are people we elect to have our best interests, generally speaking, at heart. And for the best of our lives. The cops, yes, of course, every level of power has abuse of that same power. So it's never going to just not exist. But yes, the cops we've all been there. I mean, and maybe for a lot of people, it might just be an age thing. You know, it's about appreciating what a cop is. When I was skating and I got told by a cop, "Hey, you can't just grind the stairs of the high court." I mean, that's all right. You know, you're like, yeah, fucking pig. You know what I mean? But actually, he was right. So there's that part, but generally speaking, the cops have always just got a pig rap, man. You know what I mean? They're always bad. But really, what a cop is supposed to do, and what most of them do, I believe, is that they try to enforce the laws which we all agree to have, right? And to uphold. So even whether or not you elect this guy or that guy, the cops' jobs is still the same, right? And we've stigmatized them. But now I feel like we've entered into this whole realm now that politicians and not just the politicians, but their opinions and their movements and whatever. Now look what's happened of recent times. We've got all hectic things happening, you know what I mean? Social things and awareness, which is, I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying it looks like it's changed from a police issue to a bigger government or social issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and even if it isn't, I feel like anyway, everyone takes orders from the politicians, which would make them the pigs. It's Animal Farm again, man.
It is Animal Farm again. I mean, firstly, I just wanted to say that, there's been something said, there's a few memes that go around on social media during this time. And it's about like, we as the people that the politicians should fear the people. Because we are the employers, so to speak, of the politicians.
Yeah, well, they should they should fear getting fired.
They should fear
Right?
their employer.
That's the first one. Yeah, exactly.
Of getting fired. Not we fear the politicians,
Yeah.
which is what happens here.
Yeah. Well,
At the end
that's
of the
what
day.
happens everywhere, kind of. Yes, much more here than it is anywhere else. But the politicians are always up there. It's like it's becoming this it's the politicians which rule everything, man. I mean, okay, yes, in first world countries like the States and places which are very actively political, showboating politics. You say something wrong, yeah, you can get hit, but you can also become popular.
I mean,
it's about the people you that follow you, right?
Look and see the social experiment that happened after the George Floyd skit. The government-less, police-less state named Chaz,
Oh, yeah, I
which
remember
was
Chaz.
Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Capitol Hill. Apparently, I've never been to Capitol Hill in America. It was a place that it was the funky place. It was the place where the head shops were in the 80s, etc. The artists' vibe, and it would be the hippie vibe, and people that were anti-establishment would stay in Capitol Hill, but like Hyatt Ashbury, basically. And they created this Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. So first thing they did was put up the borders. They've put up borders. They have no police.
By borders, you mean
They put up plastic. They put up plastic borders. You couldn't get in or out unless you were,
Non-bulletproof
But I mean,
plastic.
that's what we're talking about. They've done exactly.
And then what happened?
They've done
Let's fast forward a little
Okay,
bit,
they've done
yeah.
exactly what they were fighting against because they created
So
their
they've
own.
won.
They've created their own
Basically,
police
they've
force.
won, right? In their eyes, what they were fighting for, they've achieved.
However,
Right.
they had their own police force, which was then going around doing kangaroo court justice on people that were.
I thought we read this in Lord of the Flies.
This
I thought
was
Lord of the Flies was the curriculum book.
This is exactly. It might as well be called Capitol Hill Lord of the Flies Zone because that's exactly what happened. They created the exact thing that they were fighting against within a short period of a few weeks. You know what I mean?
I mean, I like that there's a Z at the end of that, isn't Chaz? Because I know we can fit some words in to make Zimbabwe end at it. And it'll be the same story, isn't it? So, listen, speaking of this disestablishment thing, do you know the longest word in the English language?
No.
It is anti-disestablishmentarianism. That's the longest word in the English language. Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
That's good knowledge there, right? I tell you,
Right
you guys
on,
have heard it
right
first here on the No Through Show. I tell you what, though.
Hold on. Before you go there, you just sparked something before when you're talking. There was the South African minister recently said something about this whole when it suits you, things can change.
Okay, I think is what I spoke to you about earlier.
Yeah.
It may have been the Minister of Education,
Or one of them,
that
yeah.
one of the ministers that is involved in the education in South Africa said, if the students have a right to protest if the exams are too hard.
That's it. That's what he said.
So we would have done 6 years of protesting
What the hell did we go to school for, man?
to learn to protest.
Asses. We learned how not to protest, and now we should have been learning the other thing.
Well, I mean, this is how in our school, if you protested, you got lashed 6 with a
No,
cane.
we got caned. I mean,
Yeah.
how many do you reckon you got caned in your whole?
I
How many
reckon
school
I-
years did you go to school for?
I did the full
Did you do
6
full
years.
6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the full 6 years, and I got lashed quite a few times. I got a few 6s, I got a few 4s, I got a number of 2s.
Twos were like I had less sandwiches. I got lashes.
I had 2 from a deputy headmaster called Mr. Makan once, which drew blood And I would never ever forget that lashing. He was so angry.
Who was your worst lashing?
That was my worst. It was only
Macken.
2. It was worse than Peter's many 6s that I got.
Macken he had a bloody aggressive nature
Streak.
to his whipping. Our weeping was the aggressive one too. Okay, Macken.
I got a good 6 for copying a book once, and
copying a whole book.
copying an exam word for
Just
word,
supposed to read the
metalwork,
book.
and we all got 37% each, and we all got lashed.
My worst one was Fincham. I think
He was an alcoholic Irishman.
But was he there when you were there? No.
He had just
Yeah,
left.
I think he was there my first year was his last year as headmaster. Yes, that ain't good whip like the Groom Reaper himself, man. Probably bit older than the Groom Reaper, but that don't whip me proper. And yeah, I didn't get too many 6s. I got a couple, maybe 3 or 4. 3 or 4, at least 2 I know stand out.
Anyway, the bottom line is there's no more whipping anymore.
But that's the problem.
And there's
I think
protesting in
that's
school.
That's the problem. Like, we've spoken about this before on the radio, and I don't know, most here in Zim, that whilst we were on the radio, of course, we were using a lot of this public, but we did broadcast a bit further. But the public from here, majority of them had also had whippings and probably still do. I mean, we're talking about private schools here. And I know it's banned all around, but, you can only ban so much. So is excessive force by the, powers that be. But hey, that happens. The point is that when there was whippings, there was politeness, manners, what is it called? Decorum in terms of kids to adults.
I mean, just to give an example, I walked across the first team cricket pitch once, and I got called into the office to get lashed a good quick 2 by the sportsmaster for walking on the cricket pitch. And I never walked on the cricket pitch again.
But that's a quitter, Craig. I mean, I got 2 was an invitation for 2 more for me. So you only started worrying at 4. Let's face it. When you got 4, you were now actually sweating a few beads because you're now going into biblical style whipping, and we were part of Christian Brothers College, so you know how that can happen.
So I just want to take you back to the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone and that whole debacle and politicians themselves. The Professor Graham Hancock, which I follow like some sort of, latter-day Oprah, he has a very interesting point. And tell me if you agree with us or not, Bruno. He says that we don't need politicians to lead us. We don't, because those people that are in power have the same size brain as every one of us. And we don't need somebody to tell us what to do and how to live.
No, we don't. But that sounds like a leader to me.
But are they
Saying
leaders?
that, there
but
are
they
sheep
leaders?
and there are
though?
leaders.
But are all politicians
No,
leaders?
they're not. No, they are not. But generally speaking, they have got to a position, even if it's by force, even if it's a military, coup, it's still a position of leadership because he has violently led. No one's going to take him out because they know he's the most ruthless.
Besides the Uruguayan president, which politician is in politics not to be rich? Because he drives a V-dub to work.
He
used the money for his presidential helicopter. He said, no, buy a air ambulance instead.
100%. What a man.
This is a man that what leaders and politicians need to emulate.
Yeah. And some would say it's good already to be rich when you're a politician. Kind of, in America, that's kind of what happens, right? You don't have poor presidents. They're not. They're there because they don't necessarily need the money. You know what I mean? Here and in third world countries, generally speaking, people see it as an opportunity to get rich, like you're saying. So I would go ahead and say, nowhere is that the case.
Except Uruguay.
That people aren't there either to get rich, and if they aren't there to get monetarily rich, they're there to get a power rich. So it's greed nonetheless, because something about it makes you need. It's not about serving the people. And yes, it looks like it is. That's not politics. Come on, man. Because you can never really serve the people by being someone which is a billionaire, for example.
Yeah,
how do you even know what that is?
How do you feel what the person earning $1 a day feels like? And that is your majority.
Yeah. And not even $1 a day. Even the guy earning 10,000 a day. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even know that.
Yeah.
So, and some might, yes. I'm not saying they all don't, but certainly in part of our experiences, the rise from poverty, or I guess we're in that transition, which is from colonialism to this, and there's all sorts of stories which go with that. And it's say for South Africa's purposes, because everyone knows apartheid, because someone put a name to it. Otherwise, it was just kind of undercover. When that kind of rise comes all of a sudden, where people just shoot up into power, and you're getting all these. I mean, how many cases did Zuma have against him? Of
here's something
and money and tenders.
Here's a question that someone put on Facebook, which is going to relate to exactly what you're saying: is what island has created the most millionaires? There's someone put on Facebook the other day, and and somebody put there Robben Island.
Like the prison.
Anyway, controversial as that joke is, there is another.
That is very truthful. Very truthful.
I tell you what, there's another woman. We were doing the mathematics on it earlier. We were talking about someone was talking about Paul McCartney, and he divorced Heather Mills, and how much he had to pay her out, and how long they were married for, and how much he actually paid her per day for his marriage in order to get nookie every Sunday afternoon, which was nothing compared to Jeff Bezos. If I'm correct, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, earned $130 billion.
No, it wasn't that much.
How much was it? Because she's in the top 20 richest people in the world.
I think she got paid out 40-something billion in the divorce. And then her shares.
Can we fact check how much? Can we fact check how much Jeff Bezos' wife got paid out in the divorce? Because I'm sure it was $2.5 million per day.
Could be. I mean, we'll check it. I think I remembered it being 40 something or close to 50 billion payout for divorce, and then her shares, which I think were 4.5% shares in Amazon, equated to another 40 something billion if she had sold out.
To 80 billion.
Yeah. I mean, Amazon's on its way to be the first $1 trillion company in the world.
So
she got paid, let's call it $100 billion total.
They were married for 25 years. 25 years, multiply that by 365 days, divide that by...
Divide 100 billion by 25, which is going to be 400 million a year.
And then divide that by the days of the year. And that's how much Jeff Bezos paid his wife.
So that's more than $1 million a day. It's more than $1 million a day.
Which
it's $1.5 million a day.
He could have bought a prostitute for $30,000 a month.
Holy cow!
A different one.
Yeah, I mean, he could have done a lot of things with $1 million a day, man. Yes, could have given me one day and just slept it off. Changed my life, I tell you what.
All right, guys, we are rolling out of here. P3 Studios, Moffat Avenue, Bulawayo. Please share.
Yes,
if you enjoy.
Like,
share if you don't enjoy.
Ram, whatever you do. Nice one. We didn't finish half of the topics. We're gonna have to pick it up next time, man.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Later.